Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Woodstock, Georgia, it's time for Cherokee Business Radio. Now, here's your host.
Welcome to another exciting and informative edition of Cherokee Business Radio. Stone Payton here with you this morning. And today's episode is brought to you in part by our local small business initiative, the Business RadioX Main Street Warriors, defending capitalism, promoting small business, and supporting our local community. For more information, go to mainstreetwarriors.org. And a special note of thanks to our title sponsor for the Cherokee chapter of Main Street Warriors, Diesel David Inc. Please go check them out at dieseldavid.com. Please join me in welcoming to the broadcast with Simplicity Home Staging and Design, Miss Mary Wynn King. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so thankful and honored to be here, that you would just have me on your show, and excited to just let people know what we're about.
Well, we are delighted to have you in the studio this morning. I got a ton of questions. I know we probably won't get to them all, but I think a good place to start might be if you could share with me and our listeners mission, purpose. What are you and your team really out there trying to do for folks?
Yeah, so my heart and mission for this business is to first and foremost use the gifts and talents that God has given us to literally serve our community. And my goal is to make design and home staging fun and simple for our clients, that they love working with us and letting their homes be represented in who they are, because so many people aren't able to walk in their homes and feel who they are and their personality. And it's just an honor to help them with that.
So what is the most fun? What's the most rewarding for you about the work?
Oh, goodness. One of the most rewarding things is to be able to call our clients our friends at the end or in the middle of our projects. Probably one of the best compliments that I've gotten from one of our clients was just her saying that we made her year. Her home was dark, and she lived in it for 6 years and didn't know that it could truly reflect her and be a place of a breath of fresh air for her, and to truly have a kitchen where she can bake with her daughter and, really love it and be there and let it reflect her.
That's got to feel good. You must sleep really well at night, right?
I do. After working really hard, I do.
So it's from working hard and from knowing the good that you're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yes, absolutely. And reaching our clients on a deeper level, and not just design. This is about loving on our community that way.
So take me back to the beginning. How in the world did you find yourself in this line of work?
So I had always wanted to do interior design and home staging. I remember thinking back as a teenager, helping my mom pick out fabrics and wallpaper for our home and saying, "Mom, clearly it's this choice." And she, because she would struggle like many people do. And just always wanting to do it. So then, God opened some doors for me to work at a retail decorating store called Scottsdale Farms in Milton, and get hands-on experience and kind of apprentice under an interior designer. And, we became best friends and got to love doing it and helping people come in every day with pictures of their home and being able to say, okay, what is your style? Let's pick out a piece of artwork or a rug that reflects you and base the design around that.
I love that approach. I love that framing, that you start with the person and who they are and helping them express that through the way that they design their home. I think that
Absolutely.
is fantastic. Say more about this apprentice experience, because it sounds like you have had the benefit of some fabulous, what do you call it, mentorships. Yeah. Say more about Scottsdale Farms and that whole experience.
Sure. So yeah, it was a friend named Damon that literally, he would challenge me. He would say, okay, we're looking to make this space a transitional space. What does that mean to you? Go grab chairs, artwork, colors that would reflect from your design aspect. And the neat thing is we saw things differently, and yet we were both great at our jobs. So that's the fun part about design, is it can go in different directions and still reflect that person.
Yeah. So do you find yourself now in a position of mentoring other people in your space? Or
it's funny that you asked me that. Yeah. Actually, I'm currently trying to help someone. A lady approached me, actually through the Woodstock Business Club. It was a contact of a contact. And she said that she had a friend that was looking to start an interior design business in South Carolina, which is where me and my husband are originally from. And so she asked if I would help her kind of guide her through that and what the business aspect looks like. And 2.5 years in, I feel like I can give her some good guidance and lessons learned and all of that. So she, just asked if she could shadow and ask me a bunch of questions. And I said, of course. So I love helping people that way as well, because it's different starting your own business, but it's worth it if you love what you're doing.
Well, and there's practicing the craft, but to your point, you're also running a business. Like, for example, and I got a ton of questions around every aspect of running the business for you, but I'll start with sales and marketing. How do you get the new clients?
The best way to do that is through referrals. So that the clients that I have helped know how deeply I care about them.
Yeah.
And for them, say on Cherokee Connect to say, Mary Wynn is awesome. Go with her. And I mean, honestly, that's the best meaningful way to help get the word out and keep it community based. So. Don't
you just love Cherokee Connect?
I do.
And Josh Bagby, and
yes.
He must surround himself with some great people as well. But we've had Josh in the studio, and just what a great person.
I know.
And I just love this thing he's put together. And you've mentioned community. You've also mentioned briefly Woodstock Business Club, and now Cherokee Connect. We got a lot going for us here locally, don't we?
We do. It's amazing. And if you get to know the business owners one-on-one, you're just like, wow, it's special.
That's really one of the things I love about this work is that, they'll come in and today it's just me and you, but a lot of times there'll be 2 or 3 different businesses in here and giving them a chance to connect and talk to each other. And just without exception, in my experience, and I've been here almost 2 years now, Holly and I, and they really want to help you succeed, even if they're in your space. I don't know that anybody else is in my space around here, but I mean, I had an episode, Chris Krickmer with Atlanta Drone Cleaning. He had 2 other people in a similar business, like to do the pressure washing, the soft washing, and he was trying to help. He wasn't even here for him. He was trying. He's a Main Street warrior. He's part of our thing, but he was trying to help them. And
I love that.
That's all over this community. It's that way.
Yeah, and the neat thing is there's enough business to go around. Everybody wants to live here, which I don't blame them. Like, you've got the best of both worlds. You have the country and the horses, and I love that. And then you have the city and the small town feel, and all that it has to offer.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the work a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's say, I really did. It sounds like something I'm making up, but it is the God's honest truth. Just yesterday, you crossed my mind. I knew we were going to have the interview, but Holly and my sister-in-law, who came into town to watch Holly act over here in the play, The Murder on the Orient Express. So Susan was here, and so they decided it was time to take down winter and put up Easter. So, of course, it's my job to go up to the attic and get all the tubs, but that is the beginning and the end of my expertise. But watching them think through and watching Holly get Susan's ideas on how we should set up Easter and all that. But, talk about the work. Let's say that Holly engaged you and had you walk through what that process is like and maybe some of the specific services that might have unfolded as a result of that.
Sure. So we have recently simplified our process for our clients to try to kind of have 6 different custom bundles or packages, which most clients might fall under. Now, I don't want to say all, but most. So what we would do is we would initially set up a design consultation. That would typically be where we would come, me and my assistant would come to your home, and walk through your space that you currently have, and for you to tell us, okay, I love this inherited piece. We want to work around that, or I'd love to change this, and really be able to measure and get a grasp of what we're working with and what you do like and what you don't like. So that typically lasts about an hour, hour and a half, and that design consultation is $150. So that gives us a basis to kind of get a game plan of how to move forward. So with that being said, we've kind of started with these packages just as a basis to start from. So like the largest tier is called the foundational focus package. And that would include like if the client needed any remodel or, construction in addition to the
Which is a great time to bring you in, right? Like we're going to carve out half of this wall and we're going to put a bar here. And that's a great time to bring you in.
Absolutely. Just even to get the scale and proportion correct. Like, we had a client that kind of took out an L-shaped island that she had that was making her kitchen feel really small. And, she was like, well, how big does my new island need to be? Like those questions that really are important to get right. So obviously helping them with that. So that would be the foundational focus is kind of the bigger, like if you're doing kind of a larger project. Now we've also helped a client with a ground up home and helping the exterior design of that, and now getting to help with the interior design. But that could also include if the client needs shopping and decor as well, like furniture and paint colors and, decor down to the pillows, which are one of my favorite things to shop for.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me to discover that you may have one client that is, I want you to go do the shopping. Tell me what to do. You go get it. You just make it happen. Here's a check, thing.
Yep.
And then others that are like, well, no, I want to go do the shop. I enjoy the shopping, or I want you to go with me. There's probably that whole continuum, right?
It really is. And it's really fun. Like I love going and shopping with clients too, because you get to hear their aspect of, of the design as you're in the store looking at different elements. And then we have, so at the, below kind of the foundational focus, we have a package called the cherry on top. And I just love that because say you have your walls and it could include paint colors if you need to change that. But if you have everything, the foundation already finished for yourself and you just are looking to kind of top it off with your furniture and, rugs that are to scale in your room, and artwork and things like that, then that's kind of where that package might lie for someone. But to your point of different people needing different things, the package under that is called the Jumpstart package. Now we kind of base that if a client needed a specific room, like if they were struggling with a certain space in their home, we kind of based that one around it, where we could help them specifically. However, to customize it and to tailor it to this one client, the Jumpstart package actually included doing a design consultation. And our last client needed online help. She didn't, for us to help her, the best way we could serve her was we did the consultation. She needed about 25 to 30 different decor items throughout her home, not just one room. Yeah. She still kind of fell under that Jumpstart, package concept. But then we were able to go home and work online and send her some links to each of those elements. And then she could buy them as she pleased. So she was on her own time frame for that. So really just looking and seeing, okay, what works for each client best.
Yeah. Well, I love the flexibility because it's like at my home, I have a little home office because we're kind of empty nesters now. And, so if I wanted to rejigger that, you could come in and say, okay, we'll start here. And it sounds like that you could come do a consultation and they could hit the brakes there and say, okay, this has been great. You've given me some great ideas.
Absolutely.
You're not necessarily coming in guns a-blazing trying to.
Right. No. And as long as I always say, clients, please just communicate with me. Communication is best because then we both know what our jobs are and everybody has a lot going on, and that's okay. So if we communicate and say, okay, Mary Wynn, I love the consultation. I love the idea. Hey, we need to wait a month. Then I will contact you in a month, and that works out great too. And the last thing that we've kind of formed that is fun is called the Designer for the Day package, where if you need just, it would be us coming in for 4 hours of like impactful design help of, do you want, where the client could say, okay, should I put curtains here? And we would be able to answer all of those specific questions. And then therefore, if they need help past that, we can, or if the client wants to do it themselves, they can.
So I'm sitting here kind of wondering what would keep a person from having you come in, and the only thing I can think of, and it's I would put it under the banner of misbelief or a concern that doesn't warrant concern, that maybe you're going to be judgmental, right?
Yeah.
Is that something that you you run into?
I do, and I feel like I want people to understand that I'm like one of the most approachable people, as you know now.
Yes.
That this is not a judgment. This is not a place of judgment.
Right.
We all have areas that we need help in, and design might just be something that someone needs help in, and it could incorporate some organization maybe, or just rethinking things. So that is something I would love for people to take the pressure off of themselves for. Just no judgment.
Yeah, the only analogy that comes to mind for me is people who are at the top of their game in professional services or sports. Sometimes they'll bring in a coach, right? Who is, a professional basketball player might bring in a coach that is he is the free throw guy, right? And we're going to help you nail that down. It doesn't make you less. It makes you more. I mean,
Absolutely.
So I kind of put it in that box for me, from my frame of reference is, get you a design coach for a day or a half a day or for this room or whatever, and bring it. But yeah, I think you run into that occasionally, or you have to be cognizant that
absolutely. And I always tell people, don't worry. Life is life. Life happens. If you have, so many people have animals and young children and things that they're working around, and that's okay. Like that is just everybody's life. And so we want to actually make the design practical for what your everyday life looks like, whatever that is,
Yeah, and you're coming in with expertise as opposed to bias. Like maybe you, in a million years, would never have a splash of, I think it's knitting needles gray is what we have on our walls. And maybe you, in a million years, in your own home, you would never put that in your own home. But you're not doing your home. You're doing Holly's home.
Exactly.
And if that's something and then you find, okay, if that's what we want for the background, then let's make that pop or not pop or whatever you want it to do. So you're not Mary winning the place.
Exactly.
You're coming in with your expertise. Right?
That's exactly right. And that is what I want for it to set us apart. Like, it doesn't matter what my personal design style is. It really matters what makes you feel good. And that I always tell a client during the consultation, I don't want them to hire me for them just to like their home. I want them to love their home. And so in text messages and, going back and forth, if they don't say they love it, then I know we haven't hit the mark yet.
Now, are you staying firmly niched in the established homeowner, someone who's there, or are you also finding that there's a market to help, like real estate agents, people who are putting their home on the market to get it to where it helps them sell their home?
Absolutely. So on the design side, my brain can't, but I automatically go to resale value. I will ask the homeowner. So I kind of automatically think that way.
Right.
But with helping the real estate agents, the neat thing is that has primarily been on the home staging side. But see, that is where I love bringing the business full circle of being able to hopefully help a client with their interior design and then be able to help them stage it to get it ready to go on the market, whether that's in recent time or if it's in 5 years. It really doesn't matter. But when I am helping on the design side, I always say, okay, are y'all planning to stay in this home? Or if we're doing some major, money investment for resale, that's so important to think about and not overlook for the future.
All right, so let's talk about being an entrepreneur, running a business. So it's great that you're doing all this. Shout out to Damon, wasn't it?
Yes,
at Scottsdale Farms. I mean, that seemed like it was a great situation for you. Talk a little bit about what it was like when you decided to make this transition, because now you got to run a business too.
Yeah. Well, the great thing is also I have some family that are entrepreneurs, and just knowing that and also I will say, some of my friends that are real estate agents have helped me on the entrepreneur side and just really kind of been some mentors for me. I would say that I've had to just know that everything that you would mark off your list of starting a business was one step closer, and to encourage people that way. Like the friend that I'm helping with, potentially starting one in South Carolina, like go in every day and say, I'm going to mark one next thing off your list, that you accomplished that will help you get closer to starting that business and help you get better. Part of my studying, I would go to libraries and rent out books. I just love it. I love, there's a local actual designer, Brian Patrick Flynn, and he is amazing, but he was self-taught. So that encouragement,
right?
Because I went to Clemson, but I didn't major in it, but I've always had a passion for it. So to me, the passion can override, anything else that you just don't necessarily know until you do it.
So you study the craft, you read about that. Do you find yourself also reading blogs, books, websites, listening to shows around how to run a business too? Do you study that?
Yes. And, but I will say that my main thing is I want to do God's will in this, and I have let him, really lead me in how we operate. And I do love studying other designers and everything, but I also want to make sure that I just stay true to the heart of this business and why I started it, and not veer off, too much from that. And just knowing that it's about relationships.
It really is, isn't it? Your business in particular, I would think, is just, it can't be transactional. It really does have to be grounded in relationship, and it requires, I suspect, a level of trust.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, it does. It really does. So kind of that moment that the light bulb kind of goes off in someone's mind of like, okay, all right, she's done enough to where I can trust, so like one of my clients was like, I was measuring for mirrors the other day for her home, and I was like, well, what do you think about this idea? She was like, Marilyn, I trust you. Just go for it. So like that, to get to that point is a great feeling, and it's important. And I want other people to feel that and to know, how much I do truly care.
Well, and do you find, let's say, again, we'll go and play that thing out with Holly. Let's say Holly brings you in, you do a consultation, you kind of help her think through transitioning between the different holidays, because she'll do winter, she'll do Easter.
Yeah.
What is it? She skips something. And of course, Halloween, Christmas, and that's, and we have tubs that are that color. Like we have orange tubs with black lids. That's Halloween.
That's great.
And pastel tubs came down.
That's
right.
Great.
And so it's all color coded and that kind of thing. And then do you find that, okay, you'll see Holly again for Halloween or summer or whatever?
Yeah. I think that's important. As long as they communicate that they need me, I will mark time off, and make sure that we set that apart. I helped a client decorate for Christmas, last year. And then she was like, now make sure you have time for me next year. And I'm like, of course I will. So, she's a client that I've been working with ongoing for about, actually 2 years. March will be 2 years.
Wow.
So, what an honor for that, of like, just being able to help them with their ongoing projects within their home.
Well, I think that's marvelous. I'm not even a little bit surprised that that's the case. So I was thinking, like, we have this, we have a little patio home right here on the edge of downtown Woodstock, and it has this little side screened in porch that, we enjoy TV outside, and we have and now I'm thinking of trying to make it more like I'm thinking about maybe a whiskey barrel,
Oh, fun, yeah.
Maybe make it a little more outdoorsy, that kind of stuff. And not just the ideas of what the space could be and all, but you also probably almost certainly know maybe a good place to go find that couch or that outdoor furniture, or maybe even that whiskey barrel. Or if you don't, you're like, okay, I'm going to go look at where's some good place to get a whiskey barrel, and I'll get back to you, right?
Absolutely. It's funny you mentioned a whiskey barrel because I have one of those in my half bath as part of my sink. That's hilarious.
Oh, it's great.
I have to give credit to my husband on that one. That was his idea. But yeah, exactly. So have lots of great contacts to shop there, and points of references. A lot of times, thankfully, I am able to even text some people that work at different stores and have relationships with them. And but I do love always finding new resources if I don't know exactly where I'm initially going for something.
That's probably fun for you.
It's so
right?
fun. It's so fun. And sometimes you can find some surprising deals online, but you just have to know what you're looking for.
Right.
And that's where it's great when we can come in and help, because even down to the dimensions of a chandelier, like knowing what's going to look right in a space and making sure it's not too small or not too big, that's important. And it's hard for others to visualize it.
Yeah. And you've done so many, you have a much better feel for that.
Yeah.
And if you find the place to get my whiskey barrel, now that's kind of in your file.
Absolutely.
So the next family that wants a whiskey barrel, you've got these 3 whiskey barrel places you're going to go check out, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that boils down to then knowing, okay, are those people that I would like future clients to work with?
Right,
or should we keep looking, kind of thing. So, but to be able to say, hey, go over and visit so-and-so at, the local store, I just think it really helps, once again, bring it down to a fun experience and keeping it simple. Yeah.
Well, it's like if somebody asked me about equipment, like maybe they're going to do a podcasty thing on their own. I can save them a lot of heartache by, don't buy this kind of mic, get this
Absolutely.
kind of mic. Here's some, just because this is my world.
Right. Right. Exactly. And so it's so fun to be able to help different things. And I like challenges. I don't want to just stay in one realm of style to, help certain clients that only have, say an updated traditional style or something like that.
Yeah. You mentioned your husband briefly. What's his name?
His name's Corey.
So, but the reason I mention it is, in my experience, this has at least been true for me, having a support system it has been so incredibly helpful to me in my entrepreneurial journey. I got to believe, and I have it, spousal support, people that are close to you. Have you found that to be important for you as well?
Very, including our 11-year-old daughter. She's so supportive, and it gives me an opportunity as an entrepreneur to tell her, look, if you love something, go after it.
Yes.
Don't be scared. Take some risks, and this was one of the first times that I've been able to take a risk on myself, in doing it, but also kind of follow your gut. And that's something I really want and hope for, even for my clients. Like one of my goals that you and I talked about prior, but is to work with our clients so closely to where at the end of a project, they can go out and even feel good about selecting something for themselves, decor-wise. And like one of my clients said, I just keep coming back to this one piece of artwork. I'm like, good, that's what I want you to listen to, and she loved it and it worked. It totally worked. So just, yes, our family, I'm so thankful for such a great support system. And just the neat thing is my husband and I have just recently finished building a ground up cabin in Maggie Valley, North Carolina. Oh. And so that was a fun experience to be able to use our design elements and like bounce ideas off of each other. And he has a good eye too. So just really pull things and make it what we really wanted to envision it being. So,
yeah. Okay. I'm going to shift gears on you a little bit here before we wrap. I'm interested to know, and it turns out our listeners are too. We've got some great feedback on asking this question. Outside the scope of your work, what, if anything, do you have a tendency to nerd out about and really get involved with? For me, it's hunting and fishing.
Oh, yeah. My other love is horses and outdoor, nature and animals. And we have 3 cats and 2 horses and 1 dog and 13 acres in ball ground. And so just spending time with them and having friends over to spend time with them and kind of get that just laid back feel of being at the barn.
Yeah, so you kind of live that country life.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
that is
it's
so
awesome.
neat. All right, what's the best way for our listeners to connect with you, tap into your work, have a conversation with you, email, LinkedIn, whatever is appropriate, but let's make sure they can connect with you.
Yeah. So we have a website, of course. So you can contact us through our website. It's www.simplicityhomestaginganddesign with the word "and" actually spelled out .com. And then if you'd like to email us, it is simplicityhomeinteriors@gmail.com. Or you can feel free to pick up the phone and actually call me or text me, which would be great, at 606-260-0175. And I would love to add that we didn't talk too much about home staging, but we love doing occupied and vacant home staging for a lot of real estate agents, homeowners that are getting their homes ready to go on the market as well. And we've had experience and been blessed to be able to help stage homes from anywhere from $250,000 all the way up to $3 million. So it's been a great experience to see that transformation, and in a few hours it can make a huge difference. Well,
I bet it does, and it can make a real difference in the price that you get for your home. So
Absolutely.
Realtors out there, you'd like to connect with them as well.
Definitely.
Well, you know what might be fun is to have you come back sometime, maybe with a delighted realtor client. And we'll give them a chance to talk about their business, but also maybe
great.
talk about how you collaborate.
Absolutely.
I think that would be a very informative segment. So if you're up for that, we'll make that happen.
I'd love that. Yeah, I would love that, because it just to educate people how much it can truly help. And those online pictures when potential buyers are scanning through to let your home set apart and stand out to being clean and simple and really letting the flow work for them to see them in their home. It really can be so important.
All right, we're going to make that happen.
Okay, awesome.
Well, it has been an absolute delight having you in the studio this morning.
Thank
you for sharing your insight, your perspective, and your energy.
Thank you.
I love your energy. This has been fantastic. You're doing important work, and we sure appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. All right, until next time, this is Stone Payton for our guest today, Mary Wynn King with Simplicity Home Staging and Design, and everyone here at the Business RadioX family saying we'll see you again on Cherokee Business Radio.